Welcome again to electrostatics field. We will discuss today a new topic, which is electrostatic energy. So let's have a quick review in our learning map. So far, we have discussed both Coulomb and Gauss's laws. We have looked into the divergence, and we have learned our input and output. So we have dealt with all of these charge forms, and we have learned how to calculate F, E, and D. And today we are with a new definition, which is just electrostatic energy. Electrostatic work or energy is the amount of energy required to move a charge from one point to another by the electric field. So if we have here some electric field and we have a charge which we want to move from some initial point to a final point over dl. So this is requires some energy, which is our electrostatic energy. Required work is defined by this equation. Coulomb's law, we have F equal to Q multiplied by E, and then we can substitute in the equation, and we finally can get that our W is equal to minus Q integration from the initial position to the final position E dot A L dl. And here we need to note that we have used the dot product, this here, because we are interested in the force applied in the direction of delta L. And finally, if we assume that our starting point is P and the end point is A, so we can rewrite this equation here in another form like this. And energy, if since it is energy, so it is measured by joules. For your memory, based on the coordinate system, you can calculate delta L or use delta L as shown here. We are being told that we have a non-uniform electric field defined by this equation, and we are told to determine the work which is required to move a two column from point P to point A over some specific surface defined here. So to solve this one, we just use the equation which we have learned here. Just substitute with the givens, which is E and the 2 points, of course, as well as the charge. And finally, we understand we are in the Cartesian coordinates, so d delta L will be replaced by this vector here. And one final thing is that when we multiply I by I, for example, or j dot j or whatever, it will give 1. But if you multiply I dot k, for example, this will result in 0 because they are perpendicular to each other, and dot product, when you are in perpendicular angle, it will result in 0. So substitute with the points, just simplify this one with this one, you result y dx, this one and this one x dy, this one with this one just 2 dz. And one final note here before completing the integration, this one will be 0 because you are moving from 1 to 1, so it's just 0. And finally, we note here this is y dx, so I am integrating in terms of x some y function, and here I have x dy, I am integrating some x function in terms of y. So either this, if it was a constant, I mean here y is a constant, if it was a constant, it's very simple integration, and if x here was a constant, this is also a very simple integration. Unfortunately, this is not the case because we are given a relation between x and y. And if you moved, for example, y in the other side like this, take the root, you will get that x is 1 minus y squared under the root. Likewise, for y, you can get this term here. So it's a little bit complex integration, but the good thing, we need to do this one time because this is the same but with different variable. So we'll use ultimately another variable and do the integration for it. And at the end, we just need to take care of the limits in each case. So one way to solve this one is just use the sign, so a displacement. So assume that alpha equal to sine beta. Once you do so, you can first, we need to replace two things. Of course, we need to replace alpha but we need to also to replace the alpha. So find the alpha, then just integrate, sorry, differentiate the alpha and equal to d beta, but you need to integrate the differentiate the sine beta, which is just cosine beta. The other last thing is 1 minus alpha square. When you substitute with sine beta, this sine square beta, which is equal to cosine square beta, then you get rid of the root here. So from the previous slide, we know that this one is just cosine beta, and this one was cosine beta d beta. So it will be simplified as this one. And then we do one more simplification. We know that cosine square beta can be replaced by half multiplied by 1 plus cosine 2 beta. Do the integration, it will result in here we got beta, and you will have here sine 2 beta, integration of cosine, and you need to multiply by half to accommodate for the 2 which is multiplied by beta, and simply we have here some constant. Going forward, just insert this half here. You will get half beta plus quarter sine 2 beta plus constant. And finally, you can simplify further like this, because we know that sine 2 beta is just equal to 2 sine beta cosine beta. Then the quarter here will tend to be half. And finally, we return to our alpha. We have alpha equal to sine beta. So once you do so, you can get inverse sine from this equation. And likewise, sine beta is just alpha, and cosine beta from the previous slide we understood is just 1 minus alpha under the root. Now we go to our x and y, substitute what we have reached here. So we need to do 2 times, one for x component and one for y component. Once you do so, just substitute with this limit. You can get just after substituting this result, and do same for y but for other 2 limits in the previous slide. Then just simplify, you get this value, and finally you need to make the summation in order to reach the required WAB. And again, unit of energy is just joules. Thank you.